Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
And do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
MJ is the voice behind the World of Conscious Positive Thinking podcast, where she explores how mindset and energy shape everyday life. Her show opens a gateway to spiritual tools, timeless teachings, and a conscious community.
Up this conscious positive session. That's on you, Boo Boo Cakes. I love it. Thank you, Joel Hunt, H Train, and Papa Crow for that beautiful music, and Third Class because they were part of Papa Crow at the time. And I am just so honored to be able to open up with Walking to the Light. Wow. You know, today is number 54 episode. And I don't know how many people. I don't know where this brain was, but hey, when you dimensionalize to make yourself better and you try to process things and you start figuring out things, you could be a day ahead or a day back. So if you were listening to last week's show and I'm like, and today is August 28th, which clearly it was only like the 18th. Where was I? Where was I at? Was I in this vessel? And I didn't say it just once. I said it twice. Yikers, yikers, yikers. Always know where you're at, right? Woof. That's a scandal. I tell you, it's a scandal. So today is August the 25th. Wow, August is gone. People are back into their routines, going back into school. The new moon in Virgo makes us aware and conscious. We ground right in. Saraswati is who you want to be for opening up the spiritual thought process and wisdom and intellect to move forward. It is such a beautiful, beautiful time. And today is number 54 episode. You know what 54 is? 54 episode. It is a number 9. And I want to read to everybody today what that means, because it's really a blessing. So when you get numbers that just kind of tingle in your mind or weigh on your mind going, that was funny, 303 or 515 or 555 or all these other different numbers, right? Now, here you go. You have, what is number 54? That resulting number, if you're a numerologist, that's a 9. A 9. A 9 is almost like completion. It's a process that we have been manifesting. It's a process that we've been healing. And so it's really important because that's a big number. 54 is a big number and it's a 9. And it's that angels would like to reassure you that you are qualified. You are loved. You are beyond time and space. And it is now time to follow your soul's longing to be assistance to others, to people, to animals, to our environment, or the world at large in some fashion. You beautiful Templars, and I call you the warriors, the Templars, you beautiful people who put the uniform on every day, and not just veterans. It's police officers, it's firefighters, paramedics, ENT, right? Even people who have to do DCF work, man, they have a big uniform to put on because that's heartfelt and family. And it is so, so, so strong. So may you call on to a new study or course into this 9 of ending and beginnings, to volunteer or to pay or perform simple acts of kindness for others. Your life's purpose involves serving others. So be that example and others can follow, right? Your angel, that's an angel number, by the way, 54 into 9. And it contains descending number pattern, right? 5-4, so it's 4-5, it going backwards. It is vital that you pay great attention to the finer details of the theme going on here, contained within the messages brought to you by who? Your number 9. Exactly. So then you go to the angel's power word today. It's angelic intervention. I'm going to say that again. It's angelic intervention. We're intervening. We're taking help. We're picking up. We're raising. We're lifting. We're enjoying each other's. And each and every one of us have a journey. Let's try to not stay within that journey, right? It's not your journey. It's, you know, if you're watching somebody else. So be careful. Try to be the wall for them unless they ask you your opinion. And don't let your opinion be biased or egoic in this energy. Don't do it. It's not good. So the 54, the angels have heard your prayers and assistance in your life and are about to intervene. What I just say, don't intervene, but the angels are. See, if you remain calm in chaos, if you remain poised and set back, if you remain, let me just sit back and process this. Let me just see what's happening. Right? There it is. The angels will intervene. God will intervene. Your path was already written. Remember that. So assistants in your life are about to intervene, and they are pulling the strings behind the scenes to bring about a sudden improvement and wellness for you and your loved ones. Have faith, my loving children. Have faith and make any changes that you are guided to implement. Big day, number 54. Wow. And I just thought, people asked me, actually, I don't know where I was. I think I was at a town hall and in these little towns. And somebody had said, what is conscious positive? Yeah. I was like, oh, wow. Wow. Conscious positive. I said, it's a way of thinking, of nothing besides positive that comes out of our mouth, and training our egos into judgments for conditioned mechanisms by periods of dates born, by the era, by our family or friends. And then I was like, wow, maybe how can people heal and align and balance when they really don't know what that is? And here I had to get to 54 of 2CAP. 2CAP represents the world of conscious positive thinking. And here I am thinking to myself, wow, I put this out there, and number 1 episode should have been, what is conscious positive? Mary Jo failed. MJ, you have to come back, right? We got to come back. So here we are, a number 9, right? The angels are pushing the path of conscious. The people are all here, and we're waiting, and we're diligently looking, and we're diligently trying to put things together. And here we are, back to, love potion number 9. Who knows that song? Right? Good morning, my friends. Joel, Terry, thank you for stopping in. Yes. So I decided that everybody needs to know why I chose the name, The World of Conscious Positive Thinking. Now, we shortened it to 2CAP because all that typing, we're bound by error and human error to make a mistake. And so we shortened it to TWOCPT at mbradio.us. So used to everybody with Gmails, but it is definitely mbradio.us. So if you have a question and you don't really want your name put anonymous, even though I can see your name in the email, just put anonymous asking and then write. Because a lot of people will ask me, but they don't want to ask me on air because they don't want me to say their name or, if I'm a friend, or they don't want any association. That, again, is a part of positive consciousness, right? Because they're trying to better themselves, but they in a way where they're not hurting and depleting anybody else by their judgment or their ego, right? Okay. So positive consciousness, it usually refers to a state of an awareness that is oriented to a towards a constructive, life-affirming, I'm going to think of all these beautiful words, harmonious thought, emotion, and or action of assistance, help, or in a positive action movement forward. That's positive consciousness. It also can mean a few different, however, connected things depending upon that content. So I have quickly just named, I'm going to name them and we're going to break them down. So in fact, I'm already at 11 minutes into the show. So I'm going to give you the categories of conscious mindset that we're going to be breaking down. We're going to take a break. And then once we take a break, then we're going to be back. So the first one would be the mindset and awareness, spiritual perspectives, practical living are the first 3 that we're going to go to separate them. And then we're going to dive into why of those. So get your conscious positive think caps on. And if you're having issues in life, if you keep saying, oh my God, here we go again, right? Sleep patterns. If you have sleep pattern issues, that's a pattern. If you're constantly waking up, my PTSDers, if you're constantly having these reoccurrence, we have to flip the pattern to conscious positive. Things do happen. Let's get rid of them. Let's unstack the blocks to get to what the real event trauma is and how much times we have lived it over and over and over again, whether in this lifetime, within our physiology, our spiritual, our emotional, our thought processes, or just plain in the physical. Where is this? But if you have a conscious positive mind and you flip the pattern and you process it, you heal it, you love it, and you let it go, I promise you when it comes again, because it will, just to test to see where you are and how healed you are, it's going to come. And then we do it again and it's going to come. And then all of a sudden you're going to go, ha, what are you doing here? I got this. That's what conscious positive leads to. And that is the most beautiful thing in the world when that happens. So I'm going to take a quick short break. And then when we come back, we're going to dive into those mindsets that keep us a prisoner within our own mind. And we're going to start unstacking and show you how the mindset, awareness, spiritual perspective, and the practical living all plays a part in how we sleep in REM, how we associate our awakening in the mornings, how we proceed throughout the day, and how we can end in such a positive. Because in the end of the day, I can't say most, but I know for a lot, you start reliving your day that you did and you start filtering as you slowly come down at night. It's already in the past. It's already gone. You can't change it. You can only improve it, right? You can only step in and improve it. And that's where we're going today. So let's go to our first break. You're listening to MJ here at the World of Conscious Positive Thinking on the beautiful veteran voice, mbradio.us, and we'll be right back.
and the twilight lies gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, traitors that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the free, and the home of the brave. Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in the name of the brave. We are the US of A. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's our future to save. This land of the brave, the US of A. Oh, traitors that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the free, in the home of the
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Dave Bray, I'm telling you, I will start every single one of my episodes with you. Stand up, we the people. Star Spangled Banner, I hashtagged it. Brave, heroes, pride, love my country. Hashtag that, folks. Get Dave Bray out there because he can remix some of the most beautiful words into the most inspiring songs and raise that vibration every single morning. Woohoo! I just love that. Thank you so much. Just a wonderful honoring for you. Okay. Conscious awareness, conscious positive, conscious. Repeat after me, be conscious. So it was when I became aware of how my ego and my judgment has created the energetics of who I am, why I would want to suffer with some of my emotional flaws, I'm going to put them, or the hiccups within health of my body, or within events that caused extreme amounts of trauma. It was a huge awareness that I played victim. It was a huge awareness that I played the martyr. And people out there are going to get very upset that I just said that, because I was you. I was there. I suffered between health to cause depression, to cause anxiety, to cause stress, to cause a negative and abundance. Why? because I constantly wanted to blame others for my unfortunate well-being, though they were my choices. So when we talk about conscious positive, we talk about that which gives us the go forward, the move ahead to heal that what no longer serves a purpose within us. I have had some massive trauma, especially if females, including rape. It hurts. It sucks. There's PTSD of being in explosions. Been there. It sucks. I've been there when they wanted to mutilate my body and under my free will. It hurts. It sucks. It's demyelinating. Yes. And I could stay there in that damn rabbit hole. I could if I wanted to. I don't want to, because that song, Dave Bray, the USSA is beautiful. They were my choices. And I cannot stay in there. I had to change and I had to learn, and it took time. Don't think it's going to be one day to another, even with this little mini course. It's not, because you have 144 chakra patterns and 12 mind power centers to clear out, and they're emotional and they're strong. And anybody who has taken these courses and gone through it, or even the addiction of AA and those people going through that, it's a struggle, because our ego and our judgment is prone to and convinced subliminally what it wants to hear and what it wants to know, because it's conditioned by, come on, 54 episodes, man. Right? Man decides that. And who is man to decide my free will? No more. And if you are new out there, I'm not saying man as masculine energy. I'm saying man like human. I want to always repeat that, because I get some people really upset. When I say human, man created, right? Because we are only taking man's interpretation through hieroglyphs, through writings, through scrolls, through whatever in history that they are digging up. But the bottom line is, you can always see the conscious positive ones, and you can always see the negative Nancy ones. And that is, like, to me, sad, but yet fulfilling to know that man has free will to change the way they feel. Yes, and you heard that right. Change the way you feel. If you are doing something by Big Pharma to help over here, it's going to hurt something over here. It's going to create an imbalance within. And they're going to say, no, that's not true. It is true. Ask me. 24 different major drugs, from heart to thyroid to kidney to, ask me. The items got worse. Yep, and you're going to say, MJ, because you're autoimmune. You can make any excuse. Again, the martyr, the victim, the excuse. The minute you start making excuses, it's time you start going back down in that rabbit hole. So how are we going to do it? Conscious positive thinking, mindset awareness, being aware of your thoughts and choosing to cultivate optimism. You're choosing to create, right? Choosing. It's not by ego. Breathe, tap that thymus. I don't care how stupid you think you look. Breathe, because it's going to change your thoughts, and choosing how to cultivate optimism, gratitude, faith, and compassion. Okay. Rather than just dwelling with fear, doubt, pain, negative, depression. Do you understand? Look at those words. Your thoughts, you're choosing to cultivate compassion, gratitude, faith, compassion, optimism, right? A conscious choice to see possibilities rather than obstacles. So when you look through your mindset and you get a little pressure, right? It's like, I'm tired of you being in my way. Whatever the obstacle is. So if you fix the obstacle and you rip it out, that obstacle no more is going to get in your way. And when it does, you're going to smile going, didn't we fix this? Get out of my way. It's no longer I can't climb Mount Everest. It's too high. I can't. I don't have the nerve center. I'm talking about me. So for me, it was all auto and neuroimmune. So for me, it was my nerves hurt when I walk. It's hurt. Where does it hurt? What is hurt? How is hurt? What is your pain tolerance? Why do you have that pain? Is it a reminder? Is it truly a pain that's affecting us? Pain is real. It is real. But pain is also being able to be controlled by you when we actually calm down in that chaos. And that is chaos. That pain, I'm going to tell you, if anybody has an amputee or anybody who has any type of nerve damage, it is very, very, very painful, right? Passing my kidney stone isn't even as painful as those damn neuropathies that take your back, take your butt, take your legs, your arms, sometimes your hands, where it just cripples up the hand. I am there with you. I was there. It is crippling. It is not only crippling to the physical, it's crippling to the mental. So we have got to choose and cultivate optimism, compassion, gratitude, faith. Warrant that love, warrant that order. Look at that obstacle and go, you and I know more. Look up a metaphysical causation to that cause. And then use those affirmations. Lewis Hayes is probably one of the best flipping affirmationists there is. Got to use it. You have a conscious choice to see the possibilities rather than the obstacles. I'm going to say that one again. You have a conscious choice to see possibilities rather than obstacles. If something's hurting you for a long time or paining you or emotionally straining you, and here we go again and again and again, that's a pattern. That means it is stacked, it's layered. Now our conscious positive is getting further away from us and our true form of physical self. It's getting further and further because we're allowing our ego. Yeah, I know people who they would end up in the mornings, like one of my masters, she would tell me that she trying to battle this emotion or this concept of conscious positive, her ego kept like wanting her and she couldn't fight it, to the point she said she slapped her face so hard. She goes, it brought tears how hard I slapped. She's like, and people were like, well, that's bipolarness. It's not. It is your higher consciousness that has been subliminally embedded by man. Once you take man out of the picture and you become you and you say no more, you control you, my love. You do. You control how you feel. Every emotion, every physical hurt, right? The body can heal, but when our sources of ego and the higher consciousness of that and our subconsciousness is fighting the conscious positive, now it is just the rabbit hole. Accepting is where it's at. So aligning your inner states with higher vibrations, such as love, self-love. We have to self-love ourselves. Who gives a rat's crap if something else is going on? You cannot be 100% until you fix you. And that is a higher vibration. That is love. It is peace. It's forgiveness. It is joy. It is a conscious of an awareness of everything that brings you back into now the spiritual perspective of conscious positive, aligning the higher state with the vibrations such as love and peace, forgiveness, joy, happiness, right? We're surrendering. No, in my mind, Satan doesn't exist, but because it's clichéic, I'll always go, not today, Satan, right? And when I say it, it's not a person. I'm talking about my own damn ego that I have allowed man to consciously flip on me. Not today, Satan. So should I be calling my higher ego, my ultra ego, Satan? Probably, because that's where judgment comes. That's where that all stems from. I don't like it. It needs to go, right? And that's pieces I work on. And you work on what works with you. But that's what I work on. And then in the spiritual perspective, being attuned to an idea that consciousness is energy. It's events that form in energy. And what you rather or radiate influence both your inner world and your environment. Now you balance this, right? I don't care if it's even like that. I don't care if it's like that, right? I don't care if it's like this. As long as you start seeing a rotation and coming together inside of our spiritual perception of it. Let go, let God, let love, right? Love yourself enough to let go of these things. Practical living. So the last little episode, or the last little thing here, is our practical living. And in practical living, it's an approaching challenge that with solutions rather than complaints. So if you don't say, oh, we have a little issue here, it's not we have a little issue, right? Now you come back and you flip that. And now when you flip it, it's, woo, wow, that could have stumbled us, but we already found a way out of it. Here's what we did to solve the problem. Do you see how it just changed? Unless you go, that oil well fell over there. I don't know what we're going to do about it. You have no inkling, really, ego. You have no inkling what you're going to do about it or what direction you're going to run. Did you step back, ego, and process it? Right? This is how I talk to myself. So if I hear myself and you hear me on this show, on the podcast, and I'll make a statement like should, right? And I'll be, I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Get that out of there. And I'm like, cancel, clear, delete that. I didn't mean should. And I correct myself because it goes back to one of the episodes. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did 10 words we really need to remove from our vocabulary. And one of my masters, she pointed out in my last show, Why Moon Why? I had such an IT moment, I panicked. So what I did is where I actually wrote man's interpretation of flipping Why Moon Why, I used a screenshot of something and I read from it. And when I was reading, I never realized how many buts, shoulds, right? There were, what was the other words? Can't, hopes. These are words I removed. And they were there. And I was reading them. She goes, I can't even believe how many times you were saying buts. And I was like, wait, I was so shocked. Again, I conformed to somebody else's choices of words. Subliminally, for my ego and my judgment, it was like, it's fine. That's fine. You're reading somebody else. But I never thought of that in the moment of how can I, problem solution, right? Don't step on a problem or an event. Come in with a problem solution. Positive consciousness. That was my way around going, I'm not panicking. I got this. And I literally just put it down there. And I would copy out things where I pick things up. And as it turns out, the message was very clear. However, my delivery was not mine. And when somebody knows you very well, especially your hierophant, your teachers, your masters, right? They are there to raise you another notch to say, where's all those buts? I go, but what? So practical, right? Approaching challenges with solutions rather than compliments. But be ready. If you're choosing something very quickly, there could be repercussions. And it's a choice I made, right? It's not so much repercussions. It is an awareness. And when you get to the level of heightened awareness, positive consciousness becomes very, very easy. And even though you might read something and say, you're like, I don't believe in the word but. I always change buts to however. But when you're reading, you're not going to read to change words because you're reading something somebody else wrote. So, yeah, conscious? Did it fail? Or did it shine the truth of the matter? What was the real truth behind that? And gosh, love that master for picking that out. What happened there? Well, it wasn't my words. Oh, okay, there it is. So even that, if it's not your words, teleprompters, and you're reading and somebody questions you, you're not going to remember what you read in detail. But if you spoke your words, your Akashic filters, those spoken words, it's different by your conscious mind to think and speak than your mind to be literate and read something and speak it. Think about that. Think about that. That's a really good one. So, so treating yourself and others with kindness and respect, honoring and thanking for the moment. And the moment in split decisions can be very challenging for conscious positive because of adrenaline is number one. Because of fear is number two. Anxiousness, depression. I mean, they just start all filtering in, right? And now you're here and you're stacking and stacking. And we're just stacking. And now you're just under the water because we're stacking those emotions and we're stacking those mindsets and we're stacking these things to be so far high that we can't swim out of that hole. We need help, right? Even if you have to talk, I call people walls, right? Can you be my wall today? Because I need to get out what it is, but I don't necessarily need to bring back and digest. Okay. Living mindfully and intentionally rather than autopilot. How many people do you see on big pharma drugs suffering with mental ailments that the psychiatrists just keep writing prescriptions? How many other ones have you seen where it is to the point of sleep aids? Well, is those sleep aids really helping you? Like, prescription drugs for pain. And then there's some pain medicine that is opium based or codeine, or I don't remember all the terms, but you know, and all of a sudden you have a reaction and all you really want to do is stop the pain. A man goes, okay, here you go, take these, it'll stop the pain. Yeah, it stops the pain. But now all of a sudden your ego and starts becoming inflamed with all these going down the rabbit hole, right? There's some people who don't like sativa because that's one of the sides of sativa. You're going down that rabbit hole, right? I remember having that experience. Damn, I was in jail, bankrupt, buried already. I was dead. Whatever could have happened, I conjugated because there was too much. Whether it was too much dopamine, too much serotonin, there was too much. It was not for me. So if you have one of those hallucination drugs or those, people try to stop smoking. I can't remember the name. It starts with a C. But anyway, Chantix, something. But they put in there, you will have very vivid dreams, or you will have, and they highlight it to do one thing, but it opens up another imbalance of another. So living mindfully and intentionally rather than on autopilot brings us back to focus, brings us back to the I am Christ conscious positive. It brings us back into an awareness that we're heading in a negative spiral. Again, don't think I did this overnight, and nobody can do this overnight. It's almost humanly impossible because we all have our life lessons to learn and we all have these things. So in short, positive consciousness is the practice of holding on to awareness in a way that basically builds you up, lifts you up on your own well-being, while also positively impacting others around you in a collective. And that is it, because if we can't heal everybody in a collective, then what? I know. I get you. Now the awareness becomes. With grace and humility, think of that. Look at that awareness now. Conscious positive. That's a lot. because that person blowing your horn when that light turns and people in the city understand that, or you need to get to a doctor's office and you did give yourself 20 extra minutes because you were like, traffic's going to be probably heavy at 8 o'clock in the morning. Let me give myself 20 extra minutes. And no, you arrive almost an hour to an hour and a half late. Now you want to get angry. Conscious positive. Flip it. You're like, MJ, but you can flip it not to be real. Well, you could. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's why we don't use those words. Right? But here it is going, man, I wonder why divine Father, Mother, God decided to make me this late. Was there a shooting? Was there an accident that I could have been in? Coulda, woulda, shoulda? What was going on that I was not to be part of that event? And then I smile and it's like, the traffic is out of my control. When you only live 20 minutes away or 20 miles away, it should not take you an hour and a half to get somewhere, right? And then that means the infrastructure of the city. That means a whole bunch of different other things. And you can see the positiveness in this. Well, what do I do? And how do I fix it? And if I can't fix it, you're not going to fight it. So then you have to do you and you choose. Exactly. So in short, it is about impacting the will of collective. So with that, we're going to go on another song because I'm a little bit late. And so I'm going to stay right in a row with Tyree Woods, and it's called Monday because today is Monday.
I laid down on Sunday, dreading the morning to be dreading my life. I'm so tired of the paper chase, tired of the average pace, tired of the lies. When I woke up, the sirens went just as the ceiling fell. They escaped just in time. Make my way into the streets. No one was watching me. They ran for their lives. This time is feeling sky, and the ground begins to shake. That I'm still alive. But it's just a Monday for me. Who would have thought it'd be the end of the world? Just a Monday for me. Who would have thought it'd be the end of the world? Just a Monday for me. Who would have thought it'd be the end of the world? Just a Monday for me. Who would have thought it'd be the end of the world? Just a Monday for me. Who would have thought it'd be the end of the world? I'll be waiting in the morning light. Sun comes up to defeat the night. I'll be waiting in the morning light. I'll be waiting in the morning light. the end of the world.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, I want to give a shout out. Welcome, Ava and Franny and Edward. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Ava hosts her People's Garden. She wrote a book, so check Miss Ava out here on MB Radio. She goes on Saturdays. I think her, I want to say 6 o'clock, but don't just look up on the Saturday shows. Don't take the 6 o'clock word from me. But she is on a Saturday and she talks about her People Garden, and she does give other very, very helpful emotional clues how to try to trick within a positive consciousness. So I love that. And what a beautiful one. Just the same as Jose Flores. He does the same thing. So there's a lot of us out there reaching to the pinnacles of these vibrations that we're seeing in our physical world. And in saying that, now we're going to move to another tier. We're going to figure out the scientific proof of conscious positive. And so we're going to relate it to the psychological, scientific angle, like positive psychologies and neuroplasticities, to try to get our brain there. So here we go. Part of that would be positive psychology. Positive psychologist Martin, and I'm going to hope I pray and say his name right, Seligman, Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, showed that cultivating optimism, gratitude, and meaning enhances a better well-being and resilience. Well, why is that? Because it raises our vibration. That's the biggest reason. Positive consciousness here just means training the mind to notice strengths, opportunities, growth, instead of focusing on the problems. So we were just relating that to the mindset. And again, if our mindset, I'm trying to think of a mindset as a child. Okay, the biggest one I can think of, the mindset of a child that would dwarf an adult, or it could either bring a deficiency, or it could bring an aggravation of heightenedness. Okay, so as a child, when I was a child, one of the biggest cliches of parents, and I know if you went from a baby boomer to Gen Z, or Gen X to even Gen Zs, you would hear children to be seen and not heard. Shut it. You're thwarting my will to speak as a child. You're not allowing my voice to speak as a child. Why? Is it an embarrassment for the parents? This moon energy is called Mana Pura, which is why it's a consciousness. This is a consciousness healing because our Mana Pura is our solar plexus. It lies right in our breadbasket. So everybody out there who has Crohn's disease, IBS, ulcers in the stomach, this is all because you have not healed that solar plexus, I'm going to tell you, or you are taking medicine to cause it, to try to interfere or react with it. Positive consciousness means that you're training the mind to notice strengths, opportunities, growth, instead of focusing on the problems. When you focus on the problems, you are not consciousness. So everybody who comes to me, who I end up on my table and I'm ripping in your breadbasket, your solar plexus, and I come out and I'm like, dude, you have so much going on here. I'm surprised if you don't let go, that you'll end up with Crohn's, you'll end up with IBS, you'll end up with ulcers. And then all of a sudden they go, I already do. Right. Well, if these ailments are pressing because you can't make decisions into a conscious positive and you linger on people's issues and problems, you are making yourself sick. You have to learn as humans to let this go. Why are you holding grudges? Why are we holding on to negative feelings? It's like a fourth grader mentality. Oh, no, my friend don't like me. I don't like him no more. He's no longer my friend. Okay. Well, did you try to balance with your friend? Did you try to align? They don't want to. Stop that. That's your ego saying that. How do you know when you can just say, I understand how you can feel? However, we keep engaging in the same energy. Is there something that I can absolutely do to assist in raising this energy to a highest level that we can align easier? What is it that I can do for you? Tell me what it is, that you don't have to be this angry. Is it something I said, or is it an action that I did? I deeply apologize on my behalf. Why is that so difficult for a lot of people? Why? That's judgment. It's ego. It's not balancing. It's not aligning. You're growth setting. You're trying to grow the problem, not relieve the problem. You being angry and you being forceful, and you're like, and then I love the people in my life who, when I say that's judgment, they're like, oh, so you don't think, you don't think, and they're getting angrier, and I'm like getting quieter. I'm like, that's your ego. I understand I'm pissing you off, but it truly is. If you just want to breathe and tap your, I'm not okay, well, then I don't know what to tell you. If you're gonna fight a solution that may plausibly help you, then I don't know what to do for you, because you're not willing. So it's the will center of our mind power centers that are thwarting you to heal yourself. So what's going on in that will center? Well, then you have to make an appointment and find out. Or maybe you could dig into your own will center and figure out why your will is so down, and figure out why the imagination center wants to cause you problems. You see how it all ties in? The chakras, the mind power centers, the physical to the metaphysical, right? Most in psychology, they want to just go to that event. I've said it 54 times. Stop it. That's fine. Heal it. But now you're there. If you're there at psychologist more than 3 years trying to figure out one event, change your psychologist, get off the meds, and find somebody who is a metaphysical counselor. I promise you, they're going to unstack it. They're going to unstack it for you. Positive psychology. Always. Cognitive behavioral science. Cognitive behavioral means science. Our thoughts shape our emotions and our behaviors. So family orientation. If you're a family, you growing up was very disciplined. My father, very authoritative, very disciplinarian, very aggressive. But in his mind's eye, he did that to make us a better human in society. Remember, he was baby boomer. If I'm Gen X. So he was a learned practice. That's right. From the Great Depression. Life evolves. Life changes. On my beginning episodes, you heard me say, listen, we evolve and we change. And the more you fight that evolvement and that change into complacentness of aligning and balancing, you're no better than the Egyptians bludgeoning their firstborns. Yeah, I said it. Right? The battle, who's going to take the throne? So where is that egoicness coming from? Where is the judgments coming from? Is it coming from a conditioned pattern back to the cognitive mind centers, back to the conscious awareness centers? Where did I pick this up? Oh, you daddy, you mommy, you pap, you Graham, you auntie. Ancestral lineage plays a major part in cognitive behavioral sciences. Don't go, it's your fault. No, because now I'm telling you where it came from. It can't be faulted as a learned man conditioned behavioral pattern. It can't. There's no blame. It's the way it was. It's an evolvement. It's an evolution. It's a movement going forward. So stop blaming and taking the victim martyr for cognitive issues. You made me feel this. No, they didn't. You could choose. You could choose how to get out of that, because this station is telling you you can choose it. and it's showing you how the mind sciences, the neurosciences, the cognitive sciences can change it. You have to have the will in you, and nobody can change it but you. It's like an alcoholic or a drug addict. They have to want to do it for themselves, the self-love within them. When they go through the rehabs and they climb those 12 steps, and they didn't do it for them, they did it to save a marriage, or they did it to save for the other person, their mother, their wives, their kids, guess what? They're going to go right back. We all know this. They're going to send rehab again because they have not seen the lights for them with their own self-love. That's where it happens. That's when, divine grace is asked to stop the layering, pick it up. Good morning, Red. And Red, you know this all too well. And Red counsels these beautiful people who need somebody to be the wall. And he is so strong to be a wall for so many people in reforming with drugs and alcohol. And God love him. It's a challenge. For healers, it's very hard because they're watching their love try to make them understand you must love yourself first. Positive consciousness comes from self-love. Positive consciousness comes from removing our self-egoicness, our self-centeredness, those negative opportunities. So when you talk about cognitive behavioral sciences, it's our thoughts that shape the emotions and our behaviors, right? So positive conscious mindset activates a neutral pathway. So when you start out, you're like, okay, this sounds really bad. This sounds egoic, especially I just tap. I could care less if nobody cared. I just tap and I breathe because that is the closest into my love of my heart, love of me. Where am I? What do I want? Do I want them harmed? No. Do I want them emotionally distraught? No. The answer will always be no when you tap and breathe, because it's bringing the fundamentals and splits the cognitive brain out of the theoretical and the analytical. And when you don't have both of those together with a conditioned mindset pattern, then nothing but joy, love, emotions of courage and pride and all these other beautiful things. I am safe. I am loved. I am joy. I am happy. These emotions start coming out in that cognitive behavioral science. And these are the mindsets that flip those patterns. No, I don't want to go down your path with you. No, I understand that's what it's supposed to be. And then you got the pressure, your peer pressure, because now they're like, oh, you're Mother Teresa. No, I'm not. My name is MJ. But I'm choosing not to react that way. I am choosing not to be mean. I am choosing not to be unkind. I am choosing not to be unhappy or anxiety ridden or stress ridden or emotional garbage. I would rather remove myself, and I don't care what I miss, because if I'm missing something that's in a negative emotion, I just don't do it. This happens in a lot of group textings, right? When a group text or a group thread that you are involved in can't stay positive, or it doesn't remove sarcasms, we got issues going again. They hurt. And they don't see them as, well, I didn't say it towards you. No, but you said it in a collective, right? That's the collective side. So back when we were just discussing our mindset, are you collectively doing it for the good of all? Are you really truly a service to others? And then yet you think negatively about each other, or you use the internet media as your soapbox? I did. And I know you do all too. Some of you anyway. And it's okay, but we're not going to do it again. We don't need to. There's no reason to do that again. Why? Because we learned that choosing that soapbox means that I want to form an army and really hurt that other person. No matter if it was a mental problem or a stress problem, there is ways that your words and tones matter, especially in cognitive behavioral science. And this is what they're trying to change to bring things into a fruition. So conscious positive mindset activates a neutral pathway for us associated with calming, problem solving, motivations. How many people you see who have such anxiety, they start hyperventilating. And they can't breathe, and they're that, and they're this, and then they're trying to tell you a story. Or you have somebody who's so emotional, they're crying, and they can't even breathe. And oh my gosh, you just want to hug them, and you just want to put that secure blanket as tight as you can around them, going, my God, my child, my sister, my brother. Right? The children of God, our sisters and brothers of God. Why are you so in this fear? There are 12 fears I understand that you come in with. If you know that you hyperventilate in that anxiety-ridden moment, why aren't we clearing that? You control you. Don't allow everybody else to control you. Those hurt my heart when I see those. Yeah. And I know you know probably some people like that. That is a mass amount of fear. Whether it was assault in the past life of our Akashic, or whether it was a true form of this lifetime, it hurts. It's a struggle. So an example is of a reframing before I move out of cognitive behavioral. You can say, I failed. Now, that is a negative emotion. You have already planted and sowed those seeds of failure just because you're like, I failed, right? Or you're playing a game and it comes up, fail, right? Now, let's learn something from it. Cognitive science. I learned something useful today. Maybe I should have thrown that jack. Maybe I should have thrown the queen, because then, or whatever it is, whatever you failed at that you say you failed, right? Nope, I've learned something very useful today. That didn't work. So I'm going to flip it and we're going to try something else. Because if we try something else, maybe it will work better for what I'm trying to do in this event. It shifts our brain stress responders into a learning mode that activates more isotopes, more neurons into the positive analytical side of the brain of the consciousness than the thwarting, oh, poor pity me, I failed, I'm the martyr, I'm the victim, I'm the this, it didn't work how he said it was supposed to work, stupid IT computers and blah, blah. You see how you're going down it? And then you get yourself more frustrated, and then solutions don't come. They just don't come. Because you're creating a different neuron isotope, right? And the theoretical. And that then starts spiraling down to the ego, down to, the super egos, down to our judgments of man, and how it's easier to blame somebody and take the energy off of us because we're in a block or we're in a stagnant area. Just sometimes doesn't work. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the neuroscience of an awareness. I'm going to take a quick short break because I'm going to do neuroscience of awareness. I'm going to do flow states and performance and physiological effects. And so these are the mainstreams that we're going to go through. So right here at neuroscience of awareness, when we come back, we're going to discuss the brain and its neuroplasticity of the neuroscience of conscious positive. So let's go to break. You're listening to MBRadio.us, where veterans always have a voice. And folks, here in November, this station is going on a cruise that is under Fairway Travel, which is our beautiful Red, who is organizing the whole thing so that they can have. So I'm going to play his commercial. And then from there, we're going to lead right into, I'm going to play my boy and in his new Papa Crow, What About Us? So he's going to come on right after Fairway Travels. So get your money, get your ticket, get your card, get a hold of Ken, and let's go cruise around the waters together.
It's time for a vacation, and Fairway Travels is here to share great specials for you to choose from. Discover the charm and features of one of Sandals' 16 all-inclusive, luxury-included, adults-only resorts, or a family-friendly beaches destination in the Caribbean. Or how about a couples resort in Jamaica? If cruising's your preference, get Thunderstroke aboard Carnival Cruise Lines or set sail on an award-winning Royal Caribbean ship. Join Virgin Voyages now for a wonderful adults-only sailing. It doesn't matter if you choose to travel by plane, train, automobile, cruise ship, or rowboat, we can help you reach your dream destination. Contact Fairway Travels today at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012. Or email bookitnow247@gmail.com. Fairway Travels, where your journeys keep satisfying.
I pledge my allegiance to her, from sea to shining sea. She held her torch to the sky to give the world liberty. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? What about love? In God we trust. These are the things they want us all to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? The people walk through the streets, holding up protest signs. Try not to repeat our history. Maybe no one will have to die. What about us? What about we? What about living the American dream? And what about hope? Trust God, let go. These are the phrases they want us to believe. What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? And right now, we need a hero, someone who will stand and fight for us. A leader, someone we all know, to wear the shield of America. Oh, what about we, the people? What about us? What about we, the people? What about us? What about us? What about the people? What about us? What about us? What about the people? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What about we, the people? What about us? What about us? What about us? What about us?
There we are. That's his newest one. That's Crowes. What about us? So beautiful. Okay. So neuroscience of awareness. We talked about this. This is the brain that has neuroplasticity. It rewires itself with repetitive thought patterns, right? People, the Rain Man, repetitively speaking, he remembers, right? Repetitively. Now, I understand he has autism. I get that. But it's the same neurons doing the same thing. Repetitive motion, right? Conditioning motions, right? You have to be able, it's like a child, right? The answer is no. 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 You wish you had a recorder right? No, right? Is constant, no, no, right? And you can explain into the amphetamines, but yet it's the pattern, right? Repeating patterns, debriefing. Look, I told you I had a debrief, 3 months, headsets, black rooms, listening to my life, right? From 1986 to 1988, I had to listen to what they were telling me about my life. To completely brainwash, right? It's a brainwash. It is constant reoccurrence of what you did. And then your ego fights your truth. It fights both sides of the brain. And then at that, it's like, whoosh. Yeah. It's fighting both sides of the brain. Because now man is trying to convince you of your truth. And this is what this is talking about. The neurosciences of an awareness. Practices like mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, journaling, train the prefrontal cortex right here, right? Linked to our higher reasoning and our positivity. It's going to reach a higher when you reinforce a journaling, when you reinforce a gratitude, right? If you struggle with abundance or you struggle with money, the first thing that we all do, right, is we're like, I don't have any money. Okay, well, you saying a negative is universal law that's creating going, oh, you don't have any money. Okay, well, we're going to go down in that spiral. We're just going to keep saying you don't have an abundance. And you think it is it, right? That's pretty sad. You think it and it's happening and it's getting worse. So if you find $1 or a dime going, be gracious. I'm not kidding. Overact if you want. Be an overactor, right? Oh my God, thank you very, very much, but not sarcastically. Thank you, because that smallest little thing will add up. That smallest gratitude, that smallest thankfulness helps create the neurosciences of awareness in a positive. You're thankful. You're thankful for the people who are in your life. You are thankful for the dog or the animal, the cat, the fish, whatever you have. I'm so thankful. I'm thankful for I have a building to put my head that keeps me off the elements. Even if I didn't have heat or AC, I still have a building to house me, right? We have to come back to basics and practices and journaling these basics over and over. It's like, I'm trying to think of the word. When we train the prefrontal cortex, we link it into higher reasoning and positivity to override any amygdala, the fear center. You know, your amygdala here. Is that how you say it? Anyway, yeah, not a health. The amygdala. Let me see. Hold on. Now it's gonna bother me. And I gotta figure out that word. Amygdala, amygdala, the amygdala. It's the fear. Anyway, so we call it the fear center, right? So the fear center takes that override, and then it creates that energy of manifestation, which is not what you wanted. So you have to be able to flip and notice those patterns immediately once they come out your mouth. Positive consciousness literally changes our brain structure. It strengthens our resilience and emotional regulations, and it also helps pain relief. That is positive conscious in the neurosciences. Now we're going to move to flow states and performance. Unless somebody has a question, then you just put it up there. You email, text me, whatever. Here, let me put that up there. They don't have that up there. So let me... There you go. 2CAP. Is that going up there? Huh. There you go. There. Any questions, you can email. Right there it is. To twocpt@mbradio.us. Okay. So let's go into flow states and performance. So flow states and performances. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Oh my goodness, that's a big name, I know. But I need to tell you who the psychologist was who prescribes the flow state. So the flow, as he prescribes, he or she, Mihaly, I'm thinking guy. Flow as full absorption in a meaningful task. He's the one who's dubbing the flow states or the performance of the conscious positive mind frame of neurosciences. Positive consciousness overlaps with this because it's being focused, it's uplifting, it's aligning, and in its present moment increases creativity and performances. So flow states and performances, when escalating, if you hit a roadblock with flow state, it's not a roadblock. That flow state is like, ooh, look, it's like a pinball. It's bumpering us over here, right? And if we get over here and we have, oh, bumpering us back here. So if you think of blocks as a pinball bumper, right? Wherever that ball goes, that's our journey, right? There's our journey. Oh, nope, nope, nope. Oh, look, there it is. And then ding, 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 ding. All the rewards are coming. But you get bumped around by these obstacles until we can have a radial that fits both what the event that you're trying to explore is, and it's also the same thing as saying, okay, that is a learning lesson. That one, now I can understand why my thought process really didn't work so well, right? You can use this philosophy, this flow state performance, you can use it anywhere, right? Remember, flow state performance is like a pinball machine. We're bumpering, we're narrowing where we need to go. So this wasn't it, this, and then we just keep carrying. And then all of a sudden you're like, woo, and then there it is, right? Woohoo! Now we got it. So that's flow state and performance. It is just being focused, understanding that these are trial and errors, and because it's new ground, it's okay. When we have new grounds in anything, it becomes a really okay type of thing, right? Okay, now we're going to go on to physiological effects. Positive states of consciousness lower cortisol levels, stress hormones, and increase dopamine and serotonin levels, happiness and motivation chemicals. Okay. I want to make sure every single person who is out here on PTSD meds and on any type of mind-altering substance prescribed to you, a big pharma medicine. Cortisol is your stress hormone. You can increase cortisone naturally without being a pill or injection. Increasing dopamine and serotonin levels is awesome first thing in the morning. It is not awesome at night. It causes a huge REM sleep activation method. Huge. Huge. I can't say, don't do it. That's up to you. But if you are suffering with in-REM sleep of scaring dreams, horrific dreams, Hag syndrome is one of them, right? Where's your cortisone levels? Where are your serotonin and dopamine levels? Where's those reaction levels? You want them in the morning. You don't want them at night. So dive into the stuff that you are eating, taking, drinking, whatever. I know there's so much health stuff out there to increase cortisol and to increase these things. But are they taking you down the rabbit hole? Is it the wrong strand of THC to help you? Is it the wrong strand of mushrooms? Is it the wrong strand? I don't know who you are. So you have to be your own, detective. Yeah. Because sometimes those dreams are they're horrifying. They will lead you in a circle path down. So dreamscape can be a very positive thing when your cortisol levels are intact. You don't want your high serotonin dopamine levels. You want them in the morning to energize you through the day because they're your happy hormones, right? Woohoo! Right? They're the ones that lead to love, and they lead to just an embodiment of joy and motivation. And they're the ones that I think our DJ Jose, he's captured those chemicals, those physiological effects, because he's just, woo! He is so motivated, hence his show, Motivation, right? But that he has conquered those physiological effects of the serotonin and dopamine levels. You should see him on fire, right? I'm working on it. I always tell him, I'm going to be there. I'm working on those levels. And I'm going to have that physiological effect just like you have, because I tend to be a happy person, but I don't tend to be a motivated person in the last year or so. Why is that, MJ? Right? So I have to ask myself why. I have to process it. I have to take my time. I got to step back. Yep, I've had a lot of obstacles that I've had to face, and maybe that's part of it, that my body is just tired. But what is tired? Did I say but? Ha! I did. However, my body is tired, which is a deficiency in my solar plexus. It's the Manipura deficiency. So now that I know, now I'm working on bringing those levels where they need to be. That's how it all works, right? It also improves your immune function. Autoimmune people, I'm one of them. The happier I become, the more peace I become, the more restful I become, the more complacent, and everything is good around me. Everything is positive, right? The lessons I'm learning is because I need to drop those veils and create another vibration. I need to raise my body higher. I need to raise those around me higher. And that I'm so thankful for. You see how I flipped it? Because after the last year I had, it's very easy for me, if I wanted to go right into that hamster wheel. It wouldn't be a rabbit hole. It could have been a hamster wheel. The depression, the illness. You know, I fought strongly for my life in January with COVID. Strongly. I thought I was checking out. And I was okay with it, but it didn't happen. It made me aware. It made me aware how fragile everybody is. Your physical body is very fragile. I don't care if you have a great immunity system or not. You don't know when your page is going to flip. You don't know when you're going to be called back home. So in that matter, since then, every day has been a blessing. Every day I saw beauty. Every day I've seen resilience. Every day I look at something and just look at birth, rabbits, fawns, right? It's the beauty. And I keep reminding myself up here in this beautiful mountain, right? There's no people. There's nobody around really me. So if I'm angry, it's on me, right? If I'm angry watching TV, it's on me. If I'm angry reading something in social media, it's on me. Those people aren't here. So it's my choice. Physiological affecting. It's a choice. And it's a daily choice, and it's a constant daily choice. And it's a choice that you have to make in order for you to see and reign in those higher vibrations. And when you do, you become healthier. The aches, the pains, the for our beautiful people who are on the line and ended up being hurt or injured or handicapped. It's a new way of thinking to create a positiveness and to create a healthier you. Truly. I told you. Auto-neuroimmune. They injected it in me. Unidentified, unspecific. They wouldn't tell you what it was that they lively injected. I was there. I was there. And it's frustrating. But if I'm still alive, that means I still have purpose. And for that purpose, I choose beauty. I choose love. I choose honor. I choose all of them because I would go down a rabbit hole very quickly. Anything that I have to face, I smile. I trick my ego. I trick my judgment. I trick my cognitive, my physiological. I trick it because you are trained that a mad face, right? That's why if you always see when I do my promotions, I make every facial gesture there is because you can conquer every emotion. Your will. It's your will. You don't have to live by the order of your ancestral upbringing. It's a choice. And I understand people don't understand that. And people have to be aware of it in order to change it. And hopefully that's what this is. The awareness. Because it starts as an awareness. And then it filters once it's an awareness. Then it filters into processing. And then it filters from processing into, let me research this. Let me find this out. And then the more that you find out, the more that you read, the more that you dig in, then it just becomes like nature to us. Yeah. Yeah. From our scientific lens, positive consciousness is a deliberate cultivation of thought and awareness patterns that reshape the brain, our neuroplasticities that we were talking about, improve our mood and our resilience, which is our positive psychologies, and it enhances the physical wellness. And that is through like reducing our stress and better neuro-regulating our sleep patterns with our circadian last week, why moon why, with our circadian rhythms, right? And our cirlunar rhythms. How do we sleep? Where do we sleep better? What is the energies that we're sleeping under? Have we let go? Have we surrendered? Have we apologized on our behalf that we have lost our way and we can be better? As long as you are better today than you were yesterday, then you are gratifying yourself, your ego, your physiological mind power centers to have a conscious awareness. I apologize for whatever I said or did that hurt anybody. I know my friends and the people I work with or I am in forums with, I will say that I apologize on my behalf if those words or the meme or something hurt anybody. I don't want to. And the minute I surrender that, right, my conscious remains on a higher level. Those serotonin and dopamine levels create a joy, a motivation going forward, and a thankfulness that I surrendered it. It's hard. It's hard for some because you've been conditioned not to surrender. You've been conditioned to be, for better words, bully, right? Mean, unkind, words that hurt. And you don't even realize it because you're conditioned by your upbringing or your social peers or your surroundings. And this is where it all plays an effect of being aware of the conscious and taking that perception of the unconscious that wants to lay in shadow to defect and harm and bring it into light. Bring it into light. Look at, walk into the light. There's Crow. There's the opening of this whole podcast. There it is. You're going to walk into the light of consciousness. So it improves the mood and resilience of positive psychologies and enhance the physical well-being through reduced stress and better neural regulation, like neutralizing our regulation of our conversations. So now that we did the positive consciousness of the scientific and the physical, here's a practice. Get your pen and pencil. And this is something that you can train. This is how you can train. And this is really important. So it's going to take about 10 to 20 minutes a day, but it's daily. It's a daily positive conditioning that we want to do. And I wrote them down in steps. Okay. So step 1 is gratitude practice. It takes about 2 minutes. You write down 3 things that you're grateful for, right? Big or small. What are you grateful for? So, I am grateful for the purchase of my property and my home. Though it gives me issues, I'm still grateful. See where my mind's going? I don't want to hear about the issues. I just want to be grateful for the land and the home. I'm tired of looking at the issues. So my grateful pattern is I am grateful for this. What else are you grateful for? I am grateful for my health. To sit here today and smile and speak to you, I am grateful for my health. What's another thing? So maybe another thing in my mind frame when I wake up. I am grateful for those who love me and raise me and hold me in their energy. I am grateful to those people. I am grateful that they can see my journey. I am grateful that they are listening to the soul purpose that I've been here to set forth. I am grateful. Grateful with gratitude and humility and grace is how we say it, with humility and grace, right? This rewires our brain immediately. The gratitude, those 2 minutes, it rewires the brain to look for the positives, the dopamine and the serotonin releases, because we're reactive. Our levels in the brain are now, oh, this is a gratefulness. Oh, we got to get spry. We got to get this. That's why opening up, walk into the light is so joyful and happy that you want to. But when you bring a song that is, nobody wants to join in, right? But when you hear music that inflates those dopamine and serotonin, you're right in there. You want to be right in there. Yes, we have to be serious and we have to understand. But do we have to do that 24/7? No. Most people I know who are on this conscious positive or their spiritual conscious positive journeys, and we'll talk about the religions coming. But these people, no. They are... for better words, these are the people who are just wanting a constant flow of goodness, and where goodness comes, abundance comes, and abundance can be of happiness, health, wealth, joy, love. There's an abundance of, and then that abundance just creates just another domino within us. So anyway, rewires that. It's backed by positive attributes because you've already been speaking about it for 2 minutes. And it's a positive psychology using those studies on happiness and resilience. So that's how that gratitude piece turns around in our science of consciousness. The mindful breathing, 3 to 5 minutes. Inhale for 4, hold for 4. Drop that tongue and exhale from our toes all. Hear it. Hear your voice. Hear that breath of life, that last breath. Right? Get rid of it. Exhale it for 6. So you do it. Inhale, hold, and all on 4. Do it 6 times. Focus only on your breathing, removing what no longer serves a purpose in your body. Trust me, people, when you talk about breathing, people go, oh, I have a high tolerance for pain. No, I learned to breathe into the pain. When you learn to breathe into pain, and when you learn to breathe correctly and take breath courses, and Miss Kim and it was a while ago because she was in a hurricane. There was literally a tropical storm over her head when she was helping us. But she went through so many different breathing techniques, in your nose, out your nose, into the right. These all play a difference. You're like, how is that possible? Because it's how you're breathing. Breathing continues to provide health and well-being into your body. Air is a major contributor, air and water. You can live without food for a while, but you cannot live without water, and you cannot live without air. They're the 2 elements of our physiological body you cannot live without. So remember that. Breathing and water. Okay. This is calm your amygdala, right? The amygdala here again, the fear, and it will calm that down. It lowers the cortisol levels that bring in pain, and it strengthens the frontal cortex for controlling of the emotion. So that part there, that breathing part, is so crucial. Again, the physiological scientifics of conscious awareness and conscious positive. Affirming and reframing. This is another. It's 2 minutes in the morning. Pick one limiting thought where it's like, I can't do this. I'm unlucky. If that's a lingering thought, I don't know how to move this. I can't move this. You need to rechange it. I don't know how to make money. I can't make money. Pick one of those limiting thoughts and affirming and reframing it. How do I reframe it? So if I was like, I can't do this, I'm unlucky. It's like, I'm learning how to move something I'm not physically able to move. I'm learning how to use physics and different techniques into moving something I physically don't have the power to pick up and lift myself, right? I am learning, I'm reaffirming, I am learning how to control my finances on a daily basis. So if your limiting is saying, I don't have any money, I am learning how to control my finances for my abundance. I'm learning how. So we're reaffirming and reframing. That's what this one is. And that's really important. 2 minutes. And it's a mantra, I'm learning how to refrain and redo my finances. I'm learning how to refrain my spending and redoing my finances. And it's an affirmation that you're going to keep telling yourself. And now you have that being refrained, and your cognitive behavioral reframing mind is teaching your brain new pathways. And it's like, calm down, you go in judgment, you calm down, because it's going to be, no, you need this. And I'm like, no, if I reaffirmed it, then I don't need it. Right? It's a desire. It's a want, but it's not a necessity. And when you reframe your mind into getting out of egos and getting out of pressures of society, and is it a necessity that you have to have it? Well, you buy all these things and now you have no money. So get rid of things that are no longer a necessity in that rhythm. And then after that reframing, you're teaching your new brain and your new conscious awareness and your new behavioral cognitive patterns. Okay, I got this. That's another one. Then you have visualization. You want to close your eyes, right? And now you're going to close your eyes and you're going to imagine what that future looks like of balance and harmony and grace. You're just going to go, I see it. I see it, right? I see how beautiful and peace I can live. That event going well, you're going to perceive it. So if you have, if you know you have to go face at work today and you have to give us some type of performance, or you have to go talk to HR, or you have to go talk to somebody, and all you're up in rafters because you're like, and now you're stressed, you're tense. I don't know what HR wants. I don't know what my boss wants. I don't know what they want. And you get your anxiety all the way up. No, it's visualize it. Visualizing you walking in very confident. Close your eyes. You see it. How you doing, sir, ma'am? How you doing? I am so ready for you today. This is what I got. Even if he might say XYZ that was not in your forethought of plan, you're going to go, I never thought of that. That is very plausible. Let's see how I can intertwine that. And then you change the whole dynamics of your fear. Conscious way of thinking. Not everybody's going to think the same. So if your feelings get hurt because somebody decides to say something that, hey, maybe you should try this, or maybe you should, look at those shoulds. Should's hard because again, there, your conscious mind. I grew up with a lot of buts, shoulds in my life. And I'm sure you all did should. I'm sure, I didn't say should. I'm sure you all have too. And it's a condition. No one's perfect, but if you catch yourself, it's done. However, right? But is always, however, a but cancels anything you just said. So if I go, I love you, you need to know that, but, and we're like, what? So you don't love me? However, right? However, here, these visualizations going back, maybe it's plausible to stick in that. Maybe it's plausible that I missed it because I wasn't aware of it. Maybe it's plausible that combine what I have with what you're now giving me and putting them together, and like we're venning, right? And mashing, and we're aligning, and it becomes beauty. It becomes like this, a beautiful thing, because now we're taking ideas and we're meshing them together. So there's the visualization, right? We're going in, and even if we can visualize with our eyes closed, but he's going to say this, that I just said the word but. Because that's the negative. See, I'm getting to realize who I am. If I want to try to speak like somebody, they're going to use the words buts and shoulds. And it's not coming out of my mouth. I'm trying to speak for the average man that I'm constantly healing, because these are the words, but shoulds. So when I'm speaking, I'm just now realizing that my conscious cognitive is actually speaking those words that I don't like. Because I'm not forceful. I'm not a demanding person, which is the should, right? And the but is a negate. It's a negative. So these are why I'm like, those words need to go. They're good for whoever who is unhealed. They're good for whoever who needs to be negative, but they're not for me. And I'm good with it. So I'll just keep catching myself and changing it. And this is what it's trying to tell you too, right? So the awareness, I just had an awareness of why I keep saying those words, because I'm actually speaking like somebody else, not speaking for myself. Yeah, so fun. So fun. This is what happens with conscious positive thinking. So what is conscious positive? The awareness. It's the awareness of what you say. And that, the more that you can dissect what you say and understand what you say, is the more consciousness that you become. Yeah. So the brain fires similarly neural circuits as if it's real, or it's priming you for success. So that visualization for 3 minutes, you're visualizing going. Somebody has a fear of driving in the snow. Visualize you being already there and opening up wherever you're going's door, or parking there. You got there safe. You're visualizing it. So the fear of driving in the snow is no longer there. Why? Because you're visualizing the positiveness. The roads are going to be clean. This is going to happen. And I'm going to have no problem. There's not going to be enough wind to sway my car. There's not going to be traffic. Good morning, Tony. You know, there's not going to be a bad game since Tony just popped on. Not going to be a bad game that I'm mad about. Right? It's all going to be the act of visualization and going forward, that you're already there. Go Tigers. We are, baby. There's the you, because I lived in Miami, but then there's the we are. He's so fun. Please listen to his show, 6:00 Eastern time. It's the Hoosier Mind. You know, there it is. I'm visualizing Penn State winning over those Tigers. It may happen, it may not, who knows? But that is why Tony and I get along, because we can understand his Go Tigers and the we are's and honor each other. And that's beautiful. So the visualization, there you go. So then we go down to acts of kindness. Acts of kindness is connection. It's daily. Send one kind mission of help with somebody, or smile genuinely. Studies show that even the smallest act of kindness raises our oxytocin level. What is our oxytocin level? It is our love hormone. So Hare Krishna, 125 slaves of sex, which they're called slaves in this lifetime, but not then. They were his help, which is why over 7,000 years ago, that man lived 125 years. It's unheard of. But you have some of those people anyway. So, and then you go down to evening reflections. These are 2 to 3 minutes before bed. Note one positive moment of your day. End the day on an uplifting note. When you start to dissect it, you look and there's something that has been a hiccup all day long and you didn't fix it, and it's still that nag going, thank you, because no matter what I tried to do today, it didn't work. So now I know I have to move it this way. Now I know I have to go that way. And so that's a beautiful thing. Movement, you know, at the end of the day, you do these uplifting notes and you change and reinforce anything that's not positive into a positive memory, so that during sleep you're not remembering. But if you're talking about it, especially my vets, if you are talking about dismal events for your PTSD, especially if you go to your psychologist on a routine basis, that night you're going to have some issues unless you have broken away a pattern during your session. If you broke away from a pattern during a session, then it's not going to happen at night. So these are all. Then you can also use binary beats like the Schumann resonance. We talked about these with Why Moon Why, right? Ground in 7.83 Schumann resonance, or for love and balance of harmony, for unconditional love, for unconditional self-love, 528 hertz for balance. You follow the mental pattern. Go to sleep. There are frequencies. 1111 is another one. You can go to sleep in these binaries of Schumann resonance or these hertzes of solfeggios, and you can fall asleep quicker and more ambient. It's not silly. If you do it and it works, who cares? You're sleeping. And if it's your spouse, who cares? This is healing. They should be honoring that you're healing instead of stressing. Remember that. Okay. Binary beats, you know, always within 2 to 3 weeks, you'll notice a calmer emotion. You're more optimism if you keep listening to the musics in a subliminal form. Sleeping is subliminal form. Talking, and it's in the background, subliminal form. Play them. You need to play. If you don't play them, I don't want to hear you're not helping yourself, right? You have to play them. So the more that you play them, the stronger you get, the more calmer you get, the more optimistic you get, the stronger the default positive mindset becomes. So at that point, I want to go quick because I know I'm already here at the 2-hour mark with Conscious Positive, because I love Conscious Positive, which got me to who I am today and why I'm on here. So people were like, MJ, you're a spiritualist, or I'm a witch, or I'm a pagan, or I'm this, or I'm that. And then the judgment comes because I can't associate with their negative. However, friends, people out there, positive consciousness in spiritual traditions is there. It's gratitude and it's affirming. And when you become a spiritual body, because you have mind, body, emotional body. Remember, we did the bodies last week in Why Moon Why, right? Now we have the spiritual body, and positive consciousness is the top of the elites of where it is. So, and you have these things, you link them into mantras, Hinduism, yogas. These are all linked into mantras and devotions. You might see some of my stuff at the moon. This one is Saraswati. Why? Because I chose Saraswati of wisdom. However, maybe the better one would have been Agni or Vishnu in Hinduism, right? Who knows? I don't know where your journey is, but as a collective, Saraswati was always soft. She's always good. She's always of so many different things. And wisdom, forethought, and spiritual and moving forward is one of her things. And when she plays her lyre, that music resonates as Schumann resonance. So we link it into those devotions. And then we do back to yogas where we use our body into those motions to call in that energy. Mantras are always chanting something like Om Shanti 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 for peace. You want peace in your life. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So these are another belief system throughout Hinduism, and that is Sanskrit. So you can do anything. You can pray. Use your rosaries and pray. Right? Use a song, lyrics. I love music. So, but mantra chanting, singing, the slokas, the bhajis. All of these different things. Visualization, the parallels of the Dhyana, which is in the meditations on all of our deities and our inner thoughts. Buddhism. Everything is okay. Well, in Buddhism, that is the mantra and the philosophy in Buddhism. Everything's okay. You're still standing here. You're still breathing. You're okay. You might not have a leg, but you're still okay. Right? It's okay. Mindful breathing. Core, right? It's the core. It's the mindfulness breath. Okay? When Buddhists breathe, they breathe because it's a mindful breath. It trains the attention and releasing from breath work back in, clinging and cultivating equality and equanimity where everything is balanced around them. It also is the psychology that shows the mindfulness strengths and the preferred cortex, the front of the prefrontal cortex, right? And it reduces the anxiety levels. This is all in Buddhism. Conscious positive. Can you imagine religions having this? Acts of kindness, the mirrors, right? Look in the mirrors. It's called the metas, right? Look in the mirror. Look at yourself. I am love. I am kindness. I am joy. I am beautiful, right? This repetition, radiating compassion in Buddhism, it is called the metta. And we look at it as compassion to self and passion of loved ones and our strength and the world. Even if you're not Hinduism or Buddhism, you can still practice in an eclectic way. Spirituality, I'm eclectic. I have taken from 12 different religions to form my positive consciousness. Don't allow a religion to put blockades on your ego and your judgment. Don't just go Buddhism or Hinduism or Christianity. Christianity with conscious positive. Gratitude journaling resonates with prayers of giving thanks in Psalms and in daily devotions. That is what they were doing. They were writing these Psalms and they were writing these devotions because they were balancing by compatibilitating that journal writing emphasizes into the brain of gratitude. Affirmations and refrains align from biblical encouragements. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So many people who are Christian will always preach the Bible. When I say preach, it's neither good nor bad. They preach that sonnet or that psalm or that writing because they are energetically saying, I understand. It's not a right or a wrong. But when you're only focused on the boundaries of one religion that was formed by man, not God, now you're going to have some issues. But for Christians, they're reaffirming in their religion is journaling and resonating the songs that are psalms, So you singing the Psalms, right? Or you're repetitive of the Psalms. And then you're looking in the passages, where can I find this? And then it comes up. If you do thou shalt not judge, you might get 20 different pages of the Bible or more that says thou shalt not judge another human being. So why are you judging? That judgment is causing you to have negative consciousness instead of positive consciousness. So prayer and affirmations engage in similar brainwaves in Christianity into regions with positive, psychologically exercising that type of the brain, reducing your stress. Yes, the man at that pulpit proceeds to train your mind. Remember that in Christianity. Whoever is in your pulpit, which is why there was feedback by the lady when Trump went in office, right? I'm not saying good or bad. She chose that pulpit, but she also chose her words that were infectious. If she was truly a conscious positive, she would have changed those words. That's why there was problems with her on January the 20th. It didn't set well. Why? Because that man or that woman at the pulpit should have conscious positive. It should not refrain into negative. And somebody who is unhealed would say, well, she told it like it is. She told the truth. No, she told it to side and divide. There's a difference. There's a difference. Okay. Shamans, shamanic traditions, ingenious traditions, evening reflections. They're very, very similar to ritual storytelling, fire ceremonies on our moons. We call it native Indians on our moons. Why? Because the natives source our ground energy, our Pachamama energy. It's sourcing our fire energy, gratitude to the day's gifts. Science shows positive memory recall before sleeping enhances in REM processing and emotional healing when we do this. When we sit and we put our sigils into the ground, or we stand in bare feet on the ground, and we get all of the elements, air, fire, water, earth, spirit, 5 of them. There's 5 of those. When you do those senses in indigenous or shamanic practices, you create a positive memory recall. And it's proven in your realm to do that. Acts of kindness. It always reflects the understanding of the interconnectedness that we all go through. What you do give returns in that energy flow. Fuchsism, right? How many people is Sufism or mystical Islam? It's a religion. It's part. Visualization and breath work, again, to the Diakir, remembering of God, often combined with rhythmic breathing and chanting of divine names, creates a coherentness into that connection into a higher vibration, a higher consciousness, a higher awareness, a higher positivity between our heart and our mind. Our modern studies show that our heart-focused meditations are balanced through heart rate variability, which people know as HRV, linked into our peace and into our resilience. And then you have the new thought or the modern spirituality, which is a lot of people are falling into because they are removing themselves from a blocked standard religion that doesn't allow other religions in. It's like putting blinders like this on a horse, right? I was Catholic 28 years of my life, Roman Catholic. Blinders. No other religion was good enough. Blinders, because the man at the pulpit preached it. Blinders. But then thou shalt not judge. Where is that? That comes into the new thought, modern spirituality. This is why people are going to this. It is the reticular, what do they call it? Reticular activating system, RAS. It's the laws of attraction. What you think with neuroscience is what you will be. How you think is how it will be, right? What you think is what it will be. How you think is how it will be, how it will play out because of your thought process. So positive consciousness acts as a huge magnet for abundance of everything that you're wishing for, and a positive way of living through balance and alignment and consciousness focused on abundance of what it is that you need at the moment and your perception of shifts into that we notice of opportunities. So science and spirituality on conscious positive converge on what? What is the truth? Even if the truth hurts. If the truth hurts, then it's a healing session. And we have to look at it like that. Not a victim, not a martyr, just like, damn, it was a choice. And my choice is cause and effects, right? So conscious focus equals energetic and neurological rewriting. What ancient mystics called prayer, mantra, meditation, ritual is what psychologists today now call neuroplasticity, affirmations, mindfulness, positive psychologies. So they're changing the words to appease the ego and the judgment of people who think merging spirituality with conscious positive is not good. And so thankful of psychology in this new age of thinking for that. So when you do your daily practices, your gratitude, your breath work, your affirmations, your visualizations, your kindness, your reflections, you're actually strengthening your brain pathways. You're strengthening your immune system. You're lifting your energetic vibration. And then you're walking and stepping in the centuries of spiritual tradition. You really are. Even in your churches, your religions, you just have to expand it wider. Stop putting the sidewinders on if you're Buddhist or Hinduism or Fuchsism or any of them denominations around the world. So that is where you have it. Positive morning, positive confirmation practices, opening, grounding, breathing, gratitude invocation, reaffirming and affirming and reframing how we think, visualizations, acts of kindness, of intentions, and then our evening reflections, quiet, centering our breath, reviewing gratitude, release, and blessings. I release all burdens. May peace surround me and all beings tonight. That's mine. You may have it, take it. I release all burdens. My peace surrounds me and all beings tonight. It allows my melatonins, it allows my serotonins, my dopamines to relax. Over time, your practice is going to strengthen with positive consciousness. It's not going to happen overnight because you have to keep having your will catch it, right? But both neural pathways and optimism and spiritual alignment with higher vibration, it will always balance and it will always come fruitful and it will always be your world of positive conscious thinking. And that's where we got the name, the world of conscious positive thinking 2CAP. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something. Look at all the hopes. I have faith that what I brought today is going to help you. I have faith what I brought today will assist you in changing that mind center. I have faith that if you do your work, you will become a positive, conscious person. All right, folks, I got to go. I love you all. Tonight, we're going to be on Behind the Headlines. Check us out. I'm MJ. I'm signing off here on the beautiful mbradio.us, where all the veterans have a voice. See you next week. May God bless you. May the angels carry you home with peace, love, grace, joy, happiness, and abundance of what it is that you desire most.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.